So sorry for the inconvenience. I'm starting a bit late. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you to HackerWare webinar organized by ANA Cyber Forensics Private Limited. For more information, you can visit our website www.ancyber.com. So starting off, my name is Ankit Bhardwaj from ANA Cyber Forensics Private Limited, and today I am going to talk about network security and why it is important for your business. So before moving any further, I would like to have your focus on network, what actually it is. And we all know about it. It's not new to us. We are surrounded by networks. We all are surrounded by networks. Now, internet, which is becoming our fourth basic need in today's world, is basically a network. So to understand our network security, we first need to understand that what is network. So in simple terms, if I say that computer network is a set of interconnected computers and these computers are connected to each other and also with other devices like printers, scanners, etc., then they form a network or group of network. Now network enables users to share, store as well as modify the data. Now if we are talking about the data, these data are of two types. First, I will talk about the static data. So it is the one which is stored in the end user's devices. For example, if I say that data that is stored in computers or laptops is a static data. Now, dynamic data is that flows through your network. So all the data on internet which we access through the browser is an example of dynamic data. Now, static as well as dynamic data can be shared within the computers and also to the outside world through the internet. Now we know that in these recent years, network has evolved and has become the important part of this digital world. With the use of internet today, there are more than 3 billion internet users in the world and still counting. We are still increasing. So the question arises that is your network really secure? Because we live in the world where every handshake is not the genuine one. And hackers, as we call them, tries to attack and destroys the network. In last 4 years, there is approximately 144% increase in cyber attack around the world. Yes, you heard it right, 144%, quite a figure to look upon. More often, companies are getting hacked and their servers and networks are getting crashed. And it is rightly said that today wars are not fought on battlefield, but they are fought using computers. Remember the tension created between two countries after famous cyber attack on Sony Entertainment. So with so many internet users, it is becoming difficult for companies to protect their network. So the question may come in your mind that what is the need for this network security? Now we are going to discuss about the same. Now let us see what are the major network attacks and how they affect our networks. So despite of so many network attacks, active attacks and passive attacks are most frequently incurred attacks. And both of these attacks are further divided into different subcategories. First, we will get an insight on active and passive attacks. So getting on to active attack. So when the computer network came into functioning, the reach of internet was restricted to smaller areas. Hence, major threat of that time was to protect our network from unauthorized physical access. So when this internet started evolving, network security threats also started to increase. And this active attacks are those which tries to destroy your network resources. Network resources may include network hardware like routers, bridges, switches, and network software like network operating system, internet browser. So when these resources gets attacked, the functioning of computer system also gets disturbed as static data is stored in the end user system. Active attacks steal or modifies this static data. So active attacks are just the matter of one click and they can be activated from any location from any part of the world, and they are continuously causing panic for companies, governments, and for individuals as well. Now coming to the second category, which is passive attack. These are the attacks which aims at collecting data traveling through the network. And we know that how these data are sensitive for any business. So their main target is dynamic data. On internet, we send and receive huge amount of data like username, passwords, some personal information, financial information, and many more. And passive attack causes severe threat to these data being stolen and then again reused for malicious purpose. The main motive behind these attacks is to gather information from the network, as these attacks do not damages our network resources. People may not even know that they are being attacked because they are like silent killers. Now let us see that what are the different kind of attacks that we are facing in this techno hub society. So to begin with, let's start with the type of active attacks. Nearly 70% of network attacks in the world are active attacks. It is important for each one of us to know about such attacks because they are very common in nature and happens very frequently. Any business can be victim of such attacks. Now let's discuss about them step by step. Now first we are going to discuss is about phishing attack. Now as you can see from the picture, though the picture is a bit funny, but the message given by the fish wearing that big hat is important. Here, as you can see in the picture, which clearly states that don't take the bait, protect your financial information. Now, when we use our net banking, we often see messages like bank do not send any message or calls you for taking your credit card information or bank details. We oftenly see these kind of messages. So what is phishing attack? When hackers reach out to you by sending genuine looking mails to get your personal details, financial details like bank account number, credit card number, OTP, date of birth, and etc. Often mail contains link of the website which enables to enter the above details. So this website may contain malware that are created by the hackers to get hold of the details that are entered by the users. As per Ponemon Institute's research stats, phishing attack costed around $4 million to the attacked companies last year. Now coming to the second type of attack, that is man in the middle attack, and this is not the name of any movie. This is another active attack which aims to modify the data being communicated between two people. So whenever there is a communication between two persons, the sender sends the message and receiver receives that message. And when there is a third person that enters into your communication line and tries to modify the data and then send it again to the receiver, back to the receiver end, so this third unwanted person is man in the middle attacker. This attacker is like someone taking your personal identity for conversation with other persons. So just consider the possibilities of damages when a middleman can get hold of your communication line without his presence being known or realized. Now you may realize the importance of end-to-end encryption that is used for, or that is important for every business nowadays. Now, one of the more possibilities may arise that attacker within the range of unencrypted Wi-Fi network can insert himself into one of your access point and can use your Wi-Fi without his presence being known. Now, the third type of attack is a spoofing. Now, every computer and laptop which is connected to internet has unique address called IP address. Now, from this IP address, all the internet traffic is carried out. So this IP address contains lots of information about the computer from which data is sent over the internet. So in spoofing, this unique identity may be used by attackers to send malicious content over the internet. In short, attackers uses an IP address of another person so that if anybody traces the origin of attack, it will be traced back to that unknown person instead of the attacker. So this you can say that it is a personal hideout for the attackers, and they use it frequently. You may have listened to the or heard about the news about big celebrities or famous personalities receiving threatening mails. In some of these cases, IPS spoofing are used. So when the concerned department traces the IP, it leads them to some innocent person who don't even know or is aware of such activity. There are many forms of spoofing, like email ID spoofing, caller ID spoofing, GPS spoofing. In all these attacks, attackers use the same method by using the identity of some other person and to carry forward illegal activities. These activities may include attacks against network, data stealing, spreading malware, bypass access control, and many more. So the next type of attack that we will be discussing is DOS attack, or we call them DOS attack, which is mostly launched by IP spoofing to overload the networks and devices. Now, when you try to open some of the busiest websites, you may see the message that site is temporarily unavailable, as you can also see on the screen. One of the reasons for this message is denial of services or service. Now, to understand how DOS takes place, we first need to understand that how web pages are related and functioning with internet. So now when we want to open any web page on the internet, we type the desired URL. That's the standard procedure we all do in the browser. Now our computer sends the request to that website server. Again, server checks the address of sender and delivers the requested information to the address. Every server has some capacity to handle particular number of requests. If this capacity is exceeded, we can face denial of service attack. Attackers send too many fake requests to the server. So when any legitimate user who needs access of services from that server is denied. In 2015, there was approximately 37% of DOS attack. Now there is another kind of DOS attack, that is distributed denial of service. We also call it DDoS attack. The only difference between these two attacks is that in DDoS attack, instead of one computer, many computers are used to send fake requests to the single server so that the server crashes. So DDoS is more dangerous because it has a capacity to take down entire network of a company. With the use of botnets, DDoS attack is becoming more and more simpler. Effects of DDoS attack is very severe as it disrupts the online service of the company, slow down the network performance. It creates the bad image of the company because of unaccessibility of that website. As per a study conducted by Kaspersky Lab and B2B International, A single DDoS attack can cost a company ranging from $52,000 to $444,000. And there is 125% increase in DDoS attacks this year. Numbers are huge. Numbers are so huge, and so is our concern because DDoS is becoming major cause of panic for any businesses to shut down. Coming to next type of threat, which is viruses and worms, are one of the most important threats that is ignored nowadays. Now, when each and every time we give our pen drive to any of our friend or a person, we don't know that pen drive will return to our hands safely without being affected by a computer virus. That's why we rarely give our pen drive to some unknown person. But do we really know that what is that virus exactly is? So now virus is basically self-replicating program which gets spreaded through files. So once injected in the system, it starts spreading from one file to another. And now with the internet access everywhere, viruses can spread faster and quickly as ever before. Some of the dangerous computer viruses that we are facing nowadays is love letter, or so we call them, I love you. Stuxnet has not only reported the financial losses but also the damages to many computer systems around the world. I love you virus, which is total opposite of its name, caused a total damage of around $10 billion, affecting almost 10% of the world's computers connected to the internet. Now, computer worms are similar to viruses in terms of self-replication. The only difference is that worms do not replicate through files. They replicate through email and network itself. My Doom, which is considered as one of the most deadly and dangerous worm till date, was spread through email. It transmitted itself through a mail by showing bounced messages to the receivers as mail transaction failed. So when the receiver clicks the message, the attachment is executed and worm is transferred to that email address found in the address book of that user. Now, according to the facts, damage caused by this worm is approximately $34 million, and it slowed down global internet access by 10%. So these are some facts to be concerned about, to be looked upon. So next threat we will discussing about is the Trojan horse. Now you all know about ancient Greek mythology, so I am not gonna bore you by depicting the same old story again and again, because I guess most of you have seen the movie Troy. But to sum up the facts, Greeks successfully invaded Troy with the help of wooden horse, as we all know that, called Trojan horse. And this horse was considered as a gift from God by people of Troy. But there was a Greek army waiting inside that horse that destroyed the Troy at the end. So likewise, this Trojan horse is basically a program which may look authentic to user, but actually it has hidden malicious purpose. So once it gets inside the system, it destroys the system, which includes stealing sensitive information, gaining access of the system. They are different from viruses and worms as they do not replicate themselves. Instead, Trojans sit quietly in your computer, turning your computer in malicious bots. So now we will be discussing the next category of attack, that is passive attack. Now there are two types of passive attack. First type of attack we will be discussing is eavesdropping. No, no, don't listen. You are not supposed to listen that. That is what an eavesdropping attack is, as you can see from the picture. In general, as you can see from the picture, eavesdropping means secretly listening to the conversation between people. Now, network eavesdropping is a technique by which data packets are intercepted between the communication. When the network data is sent in the form of small packets, these packets are captured by the attackers in eavesdropping attack. Though the packets can only be captured and not able to be modified, but the information can be used by the attacker for the further network attacks. Now, if an attacker has an IP address of some other person, he can use that IP address for the spoofing attack. Nowadays, security agencies are using eavesdropping for monitoring conversation between suspected criminals. Eavesdropping is done without knowing the concerned person in the network. So it is the major security issue nowadays. Who knows? We are being monitored by the intruder with not so very good intention. Now the next type of passive attack which we will be discussing is port scanning. TCP, IP and UDP is a protocol developed by International Telecommunication Union. These protocols use ports to transfer information from computer to internet and vice versa. There are a total of 65,536 ports in TCP/IP. So what actually happens in port scanning? In port scanning, attacker sends a message to each port and checks whether any port is open or closed. If the attacker finds any port open, attacker's system gets connected with that port. Once the system is connected and in control with the attacker, all the data traffic traveling through the network can be easily monitored by the attacker. This is called as port scanning, which is more than a concern nowadays. Now, moving forward, we will be discussing about botnet problems. So, botnet, many of you may not have heard about this term. This word is combination of two words, bot and net. This is Robert and internet. So what's the botnet? So when we fill login details on any website, there is an image that appears which is known as captcha. And below every captcha, there is a small message which says that prove you are not a robot or prove you are not a human. So the question arises that why we have to prove anything if we know we are who we are. The reason behind such message is botnet. Botnets are basically computers connected to the internet which are controlled by single server. All the network attacks that I have mentioned earlier can be carried out by these bots, which can be controlled by the hackers. With the botnet attack, it becomes difficult to trace that from where this computer attack is initiated and who is the actual person behind the attack. As per Symantec IST report in 2015, there was 1.5 million active bots, and that too was malicious in the world. Your computer may become one of the bots, and that's too a malicious one, if you would not implement proper network security in your business networks. If you don't want your business to fall like dominoes. So now till now, we have studied about network security, different network attack types, but only knowing about network security and attacks are not enough. Implementing the network security to be safe from the threat is what that matters. But are the companies really worried about network security? So according to the facts, statement given by Indian Communication Minister in Parliament, total of 46,955 incidents of cybercrime was reported in the year 2015. These are only the facts of registered incidents. There is possibility of many unregistered incidents that we don't know, and as we can see from the graph that in last 4 years cybercrime incidents are increasing year by year, and in year 2016 till March 14,300 363 cyber crime incidents have already been reported. So just imagine the number it will reach till the end of the year 2016. Also, the number of Indian websites that are hacked by hackers in 2015 was 27,205. So, some more facts to be highlighted, and according to the facts, the Economist Intelligence Unit conducted a study on cyber attacks, which nearly 80% of Indian business faced increased cyber attack in 2015. Also, according to the Forbes magazine, cost of cybercrime to business has increased 4 times from 2013 to 2015. Symantec publishes its intelligence security threat report every year. And as per 2016 report, 430 million new pieces of malware were found in 2015. It seems that attackers are continuously upgrading their attacks, breaking all the bounds and barriers. So according to the US-based Ponemon Institute 2016 report that conducts a study on how much data breaches cost to any company, it has been found that average total cost of data breach to a business has increased by 23% from the last year. Now again, as per PwC survey, 70% of Nifty 50 companies are vulnerable to cyber attacks. For most, media and entertainment, automobiles, consumer goods, and energy has the highest number of vulnerabilities. So by looking at these facts, it is clear that any business, small or large, newly established or old enough, all are prone to the threats of cyber attacks. These facts may have given you the clear picture that how much companies are serious about their network security. Now to understand deeply that why this network security is important to be implemented, I have taken two real life case studies. So the first case study is about a big and established company who has a long time presence in the market. Now this company, let's call it XYZ, has become the victim of cyber attack last year. Only because of poor network security, attackers got hold of the company's system and they stole important customer information, including credit and debit card numbers, their username, their passwords, their personal information, including email IDs, name and contact numbers. So after effects was so severe that it almost costed the company the loss of 95,000 customer base, creating the bad image of the company in the market, and company lost its long time reputation because of the attack, and also suffered the loss of $70 million. And main reason of the loss was company share price was degrading, compensation given to the customers and penalty given to the government because of the legal bindings. The company's employees also had to suffer because of the attack, because company had to cut their bonuses in order to survive from the financial crisis. So now the second case is about 6 companies who became victim of email spoofing. So this is a serious concern because in majority of these cases, companies CFOs received mail from MD or CEO of the company asking for the money transfer in their private bank accounts. As the email ID used by the attackers were of MD or CEO of that company, CFOs of that company considered it as authentic. Now, come on, who will say no to the boss? So they sent money on the given account number, but actually that account number belonged to the attacker, who was taking advantage of the situation by fooling one of the highest authority in the organization. And companies just lost lakhs of rupees from such a spoofing attack. So these are just the few drops in the ocean, a tip of the iceberg. There are many such small and big cases happening almost every day, but only some of the cases gets attention. So I'm sure you will not like to make the newspaper headlines for all the wrong reasons. Data breach incidents are sensitive and media are always looking for such news. So now you must have understood the importance of network security. It's like the oxygen for any organization. So ask yourself a question that whether you will like to concentrate on your business and revenue growth, or would you like to get caught up for the issues which could have handled just by maintaining proper information security practices. Take a pause, think about it. If not, think again. But still, for the fact the companies are not taking network security seriously, that how important it is for the survival of their business in the long run. Now, for the fact that most of the Indian CEOs don't even know whom to call in the case of cyber attack. Can you imagine that in their company? The study was conducted from the responses of 79 CEOs, and they were asked the question that whom they will call if their firm is hacked or under cyber attack. Most of the answer were CIOs, CMOs, CTOs. Now seriously, chief marketing officer will now help protect any organization from the attack. Where are the technical guys? So this is the condition of today's business owners. So implementing network security is important, but creating awareness that why network security is important is equally important as much as implementing one. They work together parallel to each other for only one cause: to make your business smooth and to run securely. So till now, I have covered almost all the aspects of the network security and why network security is important. So with every problem, there is a solution. We just have to identify the path where we have to implement our security, from where the passage of unwanted threats could be blocked. Now, some of the solutions that our company are providing and are in the best practices are vulnerability assessment that will identify non-network operating system, web applications, and web server vulnerabilities. And with the use of some automated tools, penetration testing will exploit known and unknown vulnerabilities over the networks, servers, and operating systems. And once a vulnerability has been exploited, a penetration test can show what type of data can be accessed. Actually, it's a modification of or higher implementation of vulnerability assessment. Now, coming to network security audit, it helps to check whether network performance is in compliance with established standards or not. Gap analysis, as the name suggests, finds out the gaps in your network and measures actual performance of network with potential or desired performance. Major aim of this gap analysis is to reduce these gaps in performance for better functioning of your network. Firewalls or firewalls, as we know that, are like barrier between internal network like PCs and external network like internet. Apart from these services, our company, that is ANS Cyber Forensic Private Limited, also provide other services which include ISO 27001 consultation, risk assessment, e-governance, cyber legal advisory, e-discovery, and security compliances. Cyber security services with network security architecture review. We help your business to grow smoothly and securely, falling under all the security compliances. because we understand the importance of your business, and implementing cybersecurity for its best uses is not numinous to us. So that's all from the webinar. Thank you for listening. Hope you liked the video. Now session is open. If you have any question, any queries, you can ask us on the chat window in the right hand side of your screen. Our information security team will happy to answer all your queries. And feel free to mail us on info@anacyber.com. And for more information, visit our website www.anacyber.com. And do not forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Your feedback is important to us as you are. Thank you.